Good morning, well, afternoon. So cards that I pulled were Take Action and Trust. So there's some of you out there that have been debating on taking action or afraid of what is going to result of whatever action you take. But understand, if you don't take any action, then nothing's ever going to happen and things are never going to change. So they want you to have faith and be trusting that things are going to work out for your highest good. So take the leap, take the risk, do what you need to do. I was gonna do a regular reading today, but my tiny baby's harassing me to go outside and play football. So I'm not gonna be able to do that today. You know, like I said, when I do the readings, I do them for the highest good, the highest healing, those who need to hear the messages the most. So take what resonates, leave what does not resonate. We all have masculine and feminine energy, so if I say he or she, take it as it applies, okay? And don't force things to fit that you're not absolutely certain are true, because you will drive yourself up the fucking wall. Today I thought it'd be interesting. I got a new deck, and it has a lot to do with inner child healing, so I'll probably pull some cards from that deck, and, you know, maybe some of those things will resonate with you guys, and we'll discuss a little bit. Yeah, so the other thing, I know a lot of people been hitting me up for readings. Understand that I do charge for personal readings. So if that's what you're interested in, you shoot me a message, drop me a comment. I'll let you know the prices. You know, aside from that, the ones that I do for free, you know, I just do it as a courtesy to help people that, you know, can't really afford them online. And yeah, so, you know, like I said, either way, you know, let me know what's good. If you have a tight budget, I try to work with you. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and start because I've been talking way too long. Alright, so, sorry. Let's see if any messages need to come out right now for those who need to hear this at this moment in time. Oh, and another side note, please do not visit me in my dreams. Like, for real. Talk to me like a normal fucking person. Like, have a conversation, send me a message if you have questions. Don't come to my dream space to ask me questions because I'm trying to rest. I don't want to have conversations while I'm trying to sleep. Sorry. I be having some wild ass dreams. Oh god. Alright, so the first two cards that came out here, now there's some of you that might be antisocial. And the reason you are like this is because there was some type of separation that happened between your parents probably when you were a child. And it's something, it was like, it was traumatic for you. So maybe it forced you to close down or shut down and you just became antisocial because that's how you felt safe. You didn't really want to engage with other people. Okay, like, so this isn't going to be for everyone, but there's somebody here that is very, you know, doesn't really like to engage with people, and it has to do with whatever they experienced when they were younger. So, yeah, and some of you may have even had to be more mature or act older than your age, you know, and sometimes, you know, parents get upset when a kid acts like a kid. You know, they're going to do kid shit. They're going to do dumb shit. That's what kids do. And you probably had to apologize for that, or you would always get in trouble for being your age and doing what little kids do, you know. And these are things that are coming up that need to be healed. Okay, because whatever this is, it has somebody feeling like nobody ever believed in them. Nobody believed in what they were capable of doing. You know, and that's something that's really sad because your kids need to hear words of encouragement. They need to know that you love them. They need to know that you're proud of them. You know, and if it was something you never heard as a child, then you as an adult now need to say these things to yourself, okay? We always look for external validation and we're not always going to get that from other people. We have to be willing to give it to ourselves, you know? We have to tell that little kid that's in us that I love you, you know, you're doing a great job. You did the best you could do with what you had to work with, you know, because I was grown long before my time. I was very grown. And you don't think of it because that's normal. That's what you consider normal because that's the life that you're living. until you're older and you have your own kids and you're trying to give them a different life than the life that you lived. And then you start realizing, like, damn, I was doing all of this at 7 years old. Like, my kids are teenagers and they're doing a fraction of what I was doing, So it's like, you have to really sit with yourself and make peace with what's happened in your life and forgive yourself, and forgive your parents, because our parents do the best they can do with what they had. We always think when we're kids, like, they're adults and they know everything. And that's not always true. It's really just they have the best that they have from whatever they got from their parents. And little do we know is we're looking at them as adults, but really think about it. When you were a fucking teenager, when you were in your 20s, how much common sense did you have? Like, how adult are you really if you're still in the 20s? And really think about, because that's what we're looking at our parents, like they're supposed to know all this. And in reality, like, you're still learning yourself. So don't be so hard on whatever happened between you and your parents. And also don't be hard on yourself for doing the best you could do to survive the life that you were given. It's just that sometimes we get dealt shitty hands. We have to learn how to deal with them. And when we're young, we don't realize that that's what we were dealt. We just look at it as life, okay? So you have to forgive yourself for these things. And some of you may have had some of you may have grown up without having a mom around. And it breaks my heart, because this is, I can't say I didn't have my mom. I always had my mom when I was little. She was crazy as shit, but she was still my mom. She was always there. But my own personal experience with my own children, there was a time period where I was not in their lives. And I took it upon myself to apologize to them, because it wasn't something that was deliberate. It wasn't something that I wanted to happen. But the fact remains that it still caused a trauma in my children's life. The fact that I was not present every day in their life was a traumatic experience, and it leaves them feeling like they're not loved, or that they're not wanted, or that they're not worthy of it, And even though, like, you might not have the intention of, this is what happened or this is why, it still hurts them, because they're kids. They don't understand. They just know mommy's not there, okay? So if this is something that you grew up with, I'm sorry personally, because it's a terrible feeling. I can only imagine. And like I said, my children have experienced this, and it was my own fault for being young and trusting of other people when I shouldn't have been. So really, if this is something that you had to experience, I'm not going to say it's a one and done and you're going to just get over it, because it's never. That's your mom. You're always going to wonder, you're always going to miss that love and that care, because there's nothing else like it. So if you're a person that did grow up without that, really kind of sit with yourself and see what wounds you still have from not having a parent, and try to understand why your parent wasn't around. And if there's your parents still alive that you could still ask questions, then ask them, because that's the only way you're going to gain clarity. You can't sit there and assume that mommy and daddy wasn't around because of this, that, and the third. It's whoever is missing their mom or lost their mother as a young child. Really, try to make peace with what happened, and understand that everything that has happened has brought you to where you are today and has made you the person that you are. But if you're still holding on to this pain, it's not serving you, okay? It's causing more harm than good for you right now. And for some of you, you guys may have run away from home, or just, maybe you didn't feel safe at home, okay? And especially if you were with other people or with somebody that wasn't your mom, and that's who you were taking care of, or was taking care of you, and maybe you didn't feel safe and you felt like you had to run away, and even if you're dealing with this now, understand, running away in theory sounds like a great idea, because when you're young, it doesn't, you're just like, anything is better than this shit. But in reality, it's a bigger fucking problem, and a lot goes into this, but because I ran away from home, but I ran away from home because I was getting kicked out of my house like every other fucking day. So it was OD for my life, but again, these are wounds that we carry with us. So whoever this is, just, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart just because, like I said, this is something that I identify with and it's personal to me. But try to make peace with it and ask the questions, ask the hard questions, have the hard conversations. You know, if you didn't have mom and mom's still alive, be like, Mom, you know, why weren't you there? What happened? What caused you to leave me? You know, that hurt me, or that broke my heart, whatever it was, however it made you feel. Have the conversations, because that's going to give you the peace that your soul needs. That little kid in you needs this clarity, needs this peace. So you need to have this talk, okay? And it seems like some of you may be avoiding this and not wanting to have this conversation, but if you don't have it, you're always going to have that hole, that emptiness inside of you. You have to let this out. So, some of you were raised almost like being selfish. Like, maybe you were told not to share the things that you had because you weren't related to them, and maybe that caused you to have some type of bias or some type of racism towards other people because you look at people differently, or like if you basically if you're not related to me, then I can't fuck with you, or I can't give to you, or I can't do anything for you. You know, and that's not a true statement. You know, you give to who you choose to give to. You love who you choose to love. You be kind to who you choose to be kind to. You know, and it's important that if that's something that you still have within you that you feel like you can't share or give to anybody else because they're not related to you, really sit with yourself and ask yourself why you feel that's still true, or why you feel you still need to act like this, you know, because the world is already a cold place. It's a very cold place. You don't want to keep contributing. You know, I tell my kids all the time, like, they've experienced two very different lives. You know, they've experienced a life with me, and they've experienced a life with their father. The life with their father has been very harsh and very more traumatic for them. You know, with me, it's more gentle, it's more loving, it's more caring and giving, because I've had a fucked up life. So I give and I share, and whatever the fuck I can do, I will do for anybody. I don't care who you are. I will do it for you. You know, and that's the way you want the world to be, because that's the only way the world's going to change. If you're not willing to give, if you're not willing to be that person, nothing's going to change. We can hope and wish, but you have to be the change. Now, there's someone here that when they were a child, they weren't like, okay, so if you have kids, you know, sometimes your kids aggravate the shit out of you, or they just constantly, mommy, 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 daddy, 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 and they're always calling you. There was somebody here that they never got the attention. They never got the love from their parent. Their parent always ignored them. They weren't listening to them. They never listened to what they had to say. So maybe as an adult now, you just you don't speak on anything, or you keep to yourself, or you keep your feelings inside because you don't feel like they're going to be acknowledged, or they're not going to be reciprocated. And that's not true, okay? These are fears and coping mechanisms that we've developed throughout life. And as long as we're carrying this, we're still wounded, and we're still going to hurt other people because of this. So these are things that are coming up because they need to be healed. So if you feel like whenever you speak, somebody speaks over you, or you're never heard, there's a reason, okay? You keep manifesting this because it's not healed within you. You have to speak your truth, whatever it is, regardless of how anybody's going to take it or not take it, okay? You have to speak your truth. You have to allow yourself to be heard. And this one is deep for me personally because, like I said, some of you guys have been with me from the beginning, so you know my stories. And I was raped when I was 13. I was still a virgin. So for me, it's deep because my words weren't heard. So, you know, it takes time to get over these things. It takes time to accept that these things happen, and you speak your truth. Okay, so say what it is that you need to say. Your words matter. Your words are important. Okay, regardless of how anybody fucking feels, you speak your truth and make peace with what has happened, because it's not your fault. Anything that has happened is not your fault, especially when you were a child. It's the life you were given. So you deal with it the best way you know how. But understand, as an adult, you have the choice to keep reliving this. You have the choice to continue doing this. You have the choice to let go. Okay? This is not your story. This is not true anymore. Whatever was true before, okay, it happened. This is not true now. You have to make peace with this. I'm about to start crying. I don't think I can keep it together for this reading. Okay, now this here, I feel like it's more for a masculine energy. And maybe the last one was a masculine as well. But this here more is a lot to do with emotions and crying, you know, because we always tell boys they're not allowed to cry. Or you man up, you know, you're a boy. Keep it together. You don't show people that side of you. And that's why we have the men that we have now that are fucking fucked up, that don't know how to be emotional, are scared to be vulnerable because people look at it as its weakness. And even, you know, a lot of females too, because I grew up the same way. It was no crying. It's like, shut the fuck up, you'll be all right. You know, that's what it was. You know, it's, you grow up with a different toughness, a different exterior when you're not allowed to express your emotions, you know. And it's bad because you're already sad. So you think of it as an adult and you're already emotional and you're crying and you're sad. And then imagine your partner or somebody coming in and yelling at you and telling you to shut up or to stop crying. It's gonna make you cry more because it's hurting your feelings, but it's like you're not allowed to feel your feelings. You're not allowed to feel the sadness that, you know, somebody made you feel, and that's a terrible thing. So, you know, if you do this to your child, pay attention. You know, kids, they don't deserve this. They don't deserve to be told to shut up. They don't deserve to be told they can't feel their feelings or acknowledge them, you know, especially the little boys. I've gotten into many an argument. Don't tell my kid he can't cry. Don't tell my kid he can't have his fucking feelings, because that means you're going to be fighting. I don't give a fuck. Me and you going to be fighting because you fucking with my kid. So understand, allow your children to have their feelings. You also feel your feelings, you know, just because before it was taboo, just because it wasn't okay before, doesn't mean it's not okay now. You know, it's okay to cry. It's okay to let people in. It's okay to be vulnerable and let people know that you're tired and you just are sad and nobody understands, you know, your pain. All you're doing is shoving it down and down and down and down. It's going to consume you. That pain is going to consume you alive. You need to let this pain out. You need to speak on this. You need to let people know, this is how I feel. This is why I feel like this, especially if they hurt you or they cause you pain. Let the shit out, because you'll feel better. Even if they don't want to hear it, even if they don't like hearing it, you will feel a million times fucking better if you tell somebody, this is what it is. Believe me, it's like a whole fucking weight gets lifted off of you when you make peace with these things. And some of you here, you have memories, like, you know about your past lives, or you've seen your past lives, or maybe you dream with them. You dream with your past lives. Hi Omar, hi Khalil. So whatever it is, you know, if there's things about your past lives, understand your past lives still resonate in this lifetime. Whatever has happened from before still comes into play in this lifetime, because there's karma, there's debts that we owe to other people that haven't been cleared out, and they're getting cleared in this lifetime. So you need to be okay with these things. Oh Lord, this is sad. So if your parents separated when you were a child, you know, whoever left, whether it was mommy that left or daddy that left, whichever one, some of you may have gotten blamed. Like, your parents actually blamed you because maybe they were just angry, or they were sad, or they were hurt, and they were dealing with their own shit, and they didn't know how else to deal with the pain. You know, or maybe you just internalized it as it was your fault that they left because nobody explained why mommy left or why daddy left, and it left you with this pain inside because it was never clarified. Nobody ever explained to you that it's not your fault. You know, sometimes parents just don't get along, and that's life. It happens, you know. But whatever this is, it's like, these are just deep wounds that you guys carry, and you're not letting these things go. And this is why you keep having similar situations or cycles in your life that keep repeating or keep playing out for you, you know, because these are things that you're still carrying around. And like I said, each of these messages are not going to be for, all of them aren't going to resonate with you, but parts of each one may be for you. Okay, you know what you've been through in your life and what's true and what's not true. But whatever this is, you know, understand, I'm sure as an adult you realize that it's not your fault that your parent left, or that they have issues, or whatever's going on. But understand, if currently you're separating, or you and your spouse are fighting, or whatever's going on, sit down and talk to your kids. Don't alienate your child. Don't make your child feel like they're not mature enough to understand, you know, because we look at our kids and we like, oh, they can't understand. They don't know our children are very fucking smart. I've learned that my tiny little 4-year-old son, the conversations I sit and I have with this little fucking boy amazes me, because I'm like, I didn't realize he's as smart as he is, and he understands so much fucking more than I ever thought he could. So have the conversations, let them know mommy and daddy don't get along. Mommy and daddy are fighting right now. You know, I love you, mommy loves you, daddy loves you, everything's gonna be okay. Let your kid know that they're still secure within you guys, regardless of what happens, that you guys still have that love and you guys are both still gonna be there. Okay, because there's a kid that they don't want you to go. You know, the parent, it's sad. This is sad because, you know, your kids obviously don't want mommy and daddy to break up, but it's worse when you want your parent to stay and you don't understand why they're leaving, you know, and it's hard for them to understand. But break it down into layman's terms in like kids' language where they can put 2 and 2 together, you know, because they can sense the tension, they can see the unhappiness, they know this. Okay, but even still, they'll want you to still stay together and be happy for the sake of being happy. All right, and if that was you, you know, and I'm sorry, you know, these are real ass pains, and these shit, they run deep. They run deep because we don't deal with it, or we don't think it affected us. For a long time, I believed none of this shit affected me. I used to watch my father beat the shit out of my mother, like kicking her in her face bloody at 5 years old, and I didn't think it affected me until about 30 years later. And I'm just like, okay, this clearly fucked me up. Like, clearly I have PTSD from a lot of the things I've experienced. You know, you have to really go deep within yourself to acknowledge that these things really did affect you, and they have impacted your life in some way, because you're reflecting this in your life. You're showing this to people, or you're repeating this cycle to other people. So, yeah. And as I said, you know, there's things that we learned from our parents or our upbringing, and this is what I say is like, the things that we learned were people, they weren't healed. You know, they experienced their own traumas, they experienced their own pain, and you have to think back then, there was no technology. There was no, let me pick up the phone and go see a fucking therapist. There was nothing, you know, it was taboo. Nobody talked about the mental health issues. Nobody talked about the sadness. Nobody talked about the rapes and all of the fucked up things. Nobody talked about any of this. So you have to look at it as, if your parent went through any of these things and they're living with all of these things and they're trying to find a way to cope, which was probably alcohol or drugs, then that's what you learn, those habits, you learn those coping mechanisms, because that's what they showed you is how you deal with shit. Now, as an adult, you have to unlearn that. You need to do better. You understand now that that's not the right way to do things. That is something for you to unlearn. But don't blame you. We get angry and we hold on to these grudges because we expect our parents to know so much and be so much better because they're parents. Fuck no. You asked me when I was 20 years old, holy shit, I was a whole different person, and I should not have had any child because I didn't know shit about the world, you know. And you have to think, there was people, my mom was 16 when she had me, so I have to look at myself, what was I when I was 16 mentally to then have had a kid at that age? Like, holy fuck. You know, really sit with yourself and look at the toxic behaviors, the toxic patterns that you picked up, that you learned, because they weren't healed. They didn't know what they were doing. They were just figuring it out, just like we're figuring it out. The only thing is that we're in an age of enlightenment, so all of these things are coming up for us, and a lot of us were the ones that were chosen to break these patterns and do better and do the healing for our lineage, okay? Because whatever it is that you've been through, and maybe you did grow up with a lot of unhealthy shit and learned a lot of unhealthy shit, but understand, like, a lot of you are very strong because of this. Regardless of how fucked up your life was, your childhood, if you had both parents, if you had none of your parents, you still were strong enough to survive that. You're still strong enough to be standing here today to get this message, to still be like, okay, you know what, I do resonate with this. There's things that I still need to heal, and I understand what they are now. You know, some of this is just, like I said, for me, sometimes I think I've healed, and then the spirit gives me random shit. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I got to work on that. You know, sometimes the message is we're not aware of what it is that needs to be healed. So that's what this is for. You know, like I said, I just got this and I was like, well, let me see. So I figured I'd do the message for those of you that are interested in, you know, doing the deeper work and really getting to a better place within yourselves. Okay. All right. So there was somebody, okay, when you were a child, or, you know, whatever it was that you experienced, if there was a third party situation, like maybe your parent went to somebody else or they were always cheating, but whatever it was, it's like you blame this individual for fucking up your family or your life or that situation, okay? And it's like, to an extent, yes, but at the same time, it takes two people. You know, if I don't allow somebody to cheat on me because cheat on their wife because they're married, then, you know, that's my choice. So I'm removing myself. But there's people that will allow that. So yes and no, you know, but it's always that person. They're the one with the commitment. They're the one that made that commitment, not the other individual. So if you're the one that had a parent that stepped out, you understand that your parent was the one that made the commitment to the other parent. Whoever they ended up with, yes, it was fucked up. Yes, it probably shouldn't have went down that way, but that's what happened. But don't put so much blame on the other individual. It's both people, okay? And maybe during this time you learned that you could feel people's energies, okay? And, you know, like you could feel tension when you walked in a room, or if somebody was angry or your parent was upset, like as soon as you got home, like you could feel the change in energy. But nobody explained it to you. Nobody told you what it was. You didn't understand. You just get home and you're like, oh shit, something's wrong. I'm in trouble, but I don't know what happened, or I don't know what I did. You feel this, you know, and you didn't have a guide or someone to help you understand or teach this. And no one showed you how to meditate and balance yourself and find peace within. So maybe you acted out a lot, or you would just have tantrums because you didn't know how to console yourself. In essence, you know, there was just parts of you that you couldn't make yourself feel better. You were just sad. Okay, but now that you're older, you understand, because like I said, this is the age of enlightenment. There's a lot of spirituality, a lot of talk about being an empath, a lot of talk about meditation, a lot of talk of the spirituality. There's a lot of this happening right now. So you should be able to find clarity within these things. You should be able to say, okay, you know what, I am an empath, and I know I need to have energetic boundaries, because if not, then I'm going to take on all of this stuff that doesn't belong to me. You know, and if you know you're a person that has a bad temper, and maybe you're just, I don't have a nicer way to say this, but if you find like there is some type of mental disorder or something that mentally that you feel like maybe you're like okay right now, and then later you're flipping the fuck out, you know, you have to find a way to bring balance within yourself. You have to find a way to bring peace within yourself. And I'm telling you, from my, like, a lot of this shit, I can speak on my own personal life experiences. I got stories for fucking days. You know, it's just meditating helped me. You know, it was hard when I first started because you couldn't keep my attention for fucking more than 30 seconds. It wasn't happening. But the more I did it, the more I would be able to focus. And if I find that I can't focus and sit, then I just walk and be quiet, and then it just clears. So whatever it is for you, but you have to be able to control yourself. You know, nobody wants to be with someone that has no self-control. Like, you can't tell me you can't control your anger. If I can control my anger, you can control your anger. I don't want to hear that shit. You know, we're all adults. Basically, if you're not a 4-year-old little kid, I don't want to hear you can't control your temper. I don't want to hear that shit. Not yet, baby. Oh, God. Let's see. So this here, now... Okay, so there's somebody that didn't feel like they belonged anywhere, you know, and this usually happens when you end up with either some form of a broken home, or you're not allowed to speak, you're not allowed to voice what you need to voice or be who you truly are, because somebody's judging you or makes you feel like it's not okay to be the person that you are, you know. And again, if you still feel like this as an adult, it's just shitty. It's shitty because, like I said, for Me personally, it took me a long time to come into myself because I went from knowing who I was, then experiencing a bunch of shitty fucking people, and then coming back into who I was. You know, and when you get lost and you don't feel like you're accepted by who you are or where you are because you're different, you look different, you talk different, you know, it's hard because you're just like, I don't belong. So you always feel like an outsider. Even if people are genuinely like you and they want to get to know you, you still feel like you don't belong there, like you're an outsider. So for some of you, this is something that's coming up for healing, you know, because those are all, it's the mind chatter. It's our minds that make us feel like we're not good enough or we're doing too much. And it's the fucking anxiety, the overthinking of, oh, well, what if this person doesn't like me? Or what if this and what if that? And it's why? Why would somebody not like you? Did you give them a reason to not like you? Did you do something to them? And no, most of the time you didn't. You just feel these things. Okay? It's all in your head. But you need to be comfortable with who you are. And until you're comfortable with who you are and you can be authentically you, and in spite of what anybody else may think or feel about it, you're going to always feel like you're out of place. You're always going to feel like you don't belong. And for some of you, there's like, you feel like you weren't good enough. You know, whatever it was, whatever situation you were in, you felt like you were not good enough. So if you had siblings and maybe the other sibling was praised more because they did better than you, or maybe they just kind of shut you up because you were the boy or you were the girl. You know, some parents have preference as to sexes for children. You know, whatever it was, is you have to learn to stand in your power, regardless of whatever you've experienced, whatever it was that was shown to you before. You need to stand in your power, okay? And for some of you, this is there's some part of this that includes to you being honest. You know, whatever it was that you've done that was fucked up, like, you need to bring this out. You need to speak on your truth or whatever misdeeds you've done and make peace with it. Okay, but basically all of this revolves around you being authentically you and showing the world who the fuck you can be. Okay, in spite of what anyone else believed or made you feel. Okay, you need to be honest because there's something here that has to do with you. You know, maybe you did fucked up shit. We all did fucked up shit. We all did. I'm not gonna say we didn't, you know, and maybe you just haven't spoken on it, or maybe you just haven't found a way to apologize for what it is that has happened, you know. But understand, like, when you feel like you're always out of place, you always feel alone, you always feel like you don't belong anywhere, and you never really have true friends or people that are really gonna be there in spite of everything. And maybe that's why you haven't spoken about it. But understand, I always say this, the people that are meant for you are going to be for you. They're always going to come for you. They're always going to be there for you. Regardless of how shitty of a human you've been, regardless of whatever the fuck you've said, there's always going to be somebody there for you that's going to look out for you. Okay? Because I can't tell you how many people I've come across that have been shitty ass individuals to me. And if I sat here and listed the shit that these people have done to me, you'd be like, bitch, you deserve to get smacked for being stupid. But it's not, I don't look at it as being stupid. I just look at it as I unconditionally love people, you know, and I genuinely care about people. And I understand that people have poor methods of doing things and they make bad decisions. So because of my level of understanding, people think of it as a stupidity, but I just look at it as I understand their brokenness. So I look at things differently. I accept things that other people would not accept. You know, but I have my boundaries. I'm not going to let you disrespect me. I'm not going to let you walk all over me. But I also am not going to hold a grudge and I'm not going to stay mad. You know, so, you know, see what it is for you because everyone's different. Let's see, anything else? Well, I guess one. Okay, so for this one here, there's somebody that it's like they always felt like either they were not good enough or they were always chosen last, or maybe your parent, if one of your parents left and they said they were going to come back for you and they never did, you know, or even in a relationship, whatever it was, it just feels like you were abandoned, like somebody just left you, you know. And this is, again, these are shitty fucking feelings. Like, all of this is shitty. But it helps bring awareness for those of you that are not sure where to begin your healing, or you don't know what it is that you needed to heal. So if any of this rings true, at least you'll have a starting point. You at least say, you know what, that sounds true to me. maybe I can start working on this and finding ways around these things, okay? That's really all this is for. But whatever this is, you know, this person really felt abandoned, like you just felt left, you know. And it could have been, it doesn't have to be parent, it could be relationships that have left you, that someone literally abandoned you, you know. They told you they loved you, they'd be there for you, they'd whatever the fuck they promised under the sun, the moon, the stars and everything, and then one day they're gone and your whole world is over. You know, these things are traumas. These are traumatic moments that if you don't know how to properly deal with it, you can't make peace with it. Yeah, you're gonna have PTSD. Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of unresolved shit, and you're gonna have the most severe trust issues because you're not gonna believe somebody when they say I love you or I'm here for you. You're not gonna believe that, and you're gonna do everything you can to basically sabotage that. You're gonna push them away. You're gonna force them to have to leave you because you're gonna be so terrible to them. You know, these are things that need to be healed. This is not, you know, it's your choice. Healing is always your choice. It's a personal choice. And I do this because I want everyone to heal. I want everyone to be happy and live at peace. Okay, I don't really gain much from this. I love talking to y'all. I love helping. I love the advice I can give you guys. I love all of that. But aside from that, you know, there's a million other things I could be doing. But this is important to me because I needed help. I needed guidance. Everything that I provide, I needed. And no one gave me. There was no one to help me. So I learned a lot of shit by myself. So this is why, if I can help you understand, if I can help you gain clarity, even a starting point, then I feel fulfilled. I've done what I came to do. Okay, that's how I personally feel. But if you're a person that's been, like, you feel like you've been abandoned or everybody's going to abandon you, first you have to understand, with this deep wound, you're going to keep manifesting this. You're going to keep manifesting people abandoning you and leaving you. But also you have to look at your behavior towards people. Is your behavior that of, I want you to stay with me and I'm going to treat you like I want you to stay with me? Or is it, I'm afraid because I feel strongly towards you that you're going to leave me, so instead of you leaving me, I'm going to push you away. I'm going to hurt you before you can hurt me. You know, you have to really sit with yourself and see how this resonates for you and see how you act towards people and what your actions are. You know, because like I said, a lot of us have no fucking awareness whatsoever. For a long time, I had zero awareness of the things I was doing until I became more aware, and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe I've done this. And I've been sabotaging myself because of my own fears and my own insecurities. This is why I say it's important to love you and be authentic, because then everything else doesn't matter, because you love yourself. I don't care if you love me, you don't love me. I don't care if you like me, you don't like me. Everybody's not going to like me. I don't like everybody, so it's okay. But you have to see what it is that you're doing to yourself that's causing these things to happen, because it's not everybody else. It can't be everybody else and not you. You know, at some point you have to be like, well, maybe I'm the problem. Okay, you like just keep it a buck. Sometimes we are the problem. You know, it's not always everybody else. Let's see. Okay, so now this here is somebody that is they hide their secrets. You know, it's like you're afraid to share parts of yourself, or maybe all of yourself, with anyone, because you've been shown time and again that you can't trust people, or the people that you have trusted have taken your secrets and shared your secrets, or they have betrayed you in some way. Okay, so, and for others of you, you might be actually in the closet and haven't told anyone about what your sexual preference is, or that you like guys, or that you like girls, or the long list, you know, whatever it is for you, you know. And this comes into being authentic. You know, I understand okay, I'll speak from my personal experience because I can't speak for everybody else. For me, if I'm being secretive, if I'm keeping things from you, even if it's not bad things, if I'm not sharing my life with you, I'm not sharing my life with you because I don't feel safe with you. I'm not sharing my life with you because I don't trust you. I don't trust you enough to be vulnerable with you. Okay, so when people feel like this, and you feel like, oh, they're secretive and they're this, and there's a reason they're secretive. It's not they don't want to share their lives with you. It's just that they don't feel safe. Okay, whatever it is that they've experienced in their life has led them to a point where they do not feel safe to talk about their lives. So if you know about their lives, you might know bits and pieces, but the important things, the things that matter to them, you're not really going to know about it because they don't feel safe. They don't feel safe enough to have this conversation, you know. And you know if it's you, or you know if it's somebody that you're dealing with. But like I said, I just like to offer a different perspective, because a lot of people just come from a place of attacking and not an understanding place. So if I can give you that perspective where it's like, okay, you know what, this makes sense and I understand, maybe you can save a relationship, maybe you can save a marriage, you know, maybe you can make peace with your parents, whatever it is, you know, even talk to your children. But it's to make things better. It's to heal situations. You know, everybody, we're so quick to walk away and not really get understanding or help. So that's really like, just, you know, try to gain the understanding and the clarity. All right. So here we have someone. Okay. This either happened to you as a child, or this is something that you're doing to a kid currently. Now, I don't agree with this in any shape, way, or form, because, like I said, my father was abusive as fuck. And in spite of all of this, you know, my mother never said I couldn't see my father. She never took me from my father. And I personally will never take my children from their father, because no, that's not my place. I'm not traumatizing my kids because of my own feelings. But there's somebody here that either you as a child were kept from the other parent and that impacted you greatly, or somebody currently is keeping their child from the other parent. Understand, we all have our feelings, okay? But your feelings should never interfere with the relationship with your child and their parent. That's not okay, because you're traumatizing your child because you're in your feelings. Maybe he hurt you, maybe she hurt you, whatever the fuck happened between ya, that is literally between you and the other adult. That has nothing to do with the child. So to put the child in the middle and have that child suffering and wanting daddy or wanting mommy, and you're not allowing that, that is not okay. That is not okay. Unless that child was being abused by that parent, there's no fucking reason for it. Okay, like, I'm sorry, but there's no reason for it. Okay, because like I said, my father was abusive as fuck. He never touched me or my brother, but my mother got the worst. But she would never, she'd be like, here, talk to your father. Here, he can come, you know, whatever, whenever he wanted to. He chose not to be there. It was his choice. So if a parent doesn't want to be there, let it be their parent's choice. Let it be that person's choice to not be a part of that child's life. And as the child get older, the child will understand. But also, your child's going to understand if you don't let that parent be in their life as well. And they're going to be upset with you. They're going to have harsh feelings towards you because you're taking away from them. You're taking experiences away because you're upset. That is not fair. No child deserves to not have a parent because you're in your feelings. Our feelings are temporary. You know, you'll get over it. You'll meet somebody else. Your life will continue. The damage that you're doing to your children is going to last until they're adults and they're like us and we're trying to heal this shit. Okay? And, you know, I feel very strongly about this because I don't give a fuck. Whatever I go through, I go through. My children will never ever sit here and say, Mommy never let me see Daddy. That will never come out of any of my kids' mouth. So be careful what you're doing because your kids, they're fully aware, you know, and I know people do it because it's out of spite or manipulation or, well, you didn't pay me, so you can't see him and you can't see her. Please, just please step outside of yourself and see what you're doing to your child. See the damage that you're causing before you keep going down this fucking path. Okay, try to be a better person, even if you're sad and heartbroken and they moved on with their lives. You know, step outside yourself and, you know, swallow it. You have to swallow shit sometimes. I've swallowed a lot of shit that I don't want to swallow. But for the sake of my kids, I'll swallow shit all fucking day. All day. So please do that, okay? Because whatever it is, this person, this child, even if it was you as a child, it's like you keep envisioning or you keep having these like wanting to see them. Like, I want to hang out with daddy, or you envision these little play dates, or, you know, hanging out with them, whatever it is. That's what's going on here. You know, like I said, it's either from before, or this is something that's happening now with a child. But please, just don't do this. Don't do this, because it breaks my heart. I don't like seeing kids. I don't like seeing kids hurt. Jesus. So again, this is a lot of stuff, but whatever this is, you know, there's somebody here. Either when you were a kid, you were hoping and wishing and praying that somebody would come save you from your situation, or there's a child that some of you have in your environment that you know needs to be saved from their situation. Okay, and you know whether a kid's being abused or not abused. We all know. So make sure that you're be aware of this. And I don't like intervening in people's lives, but if I know a child's being harmed, then yes, I will intervene, because no kid deserves to be harmed. No kid deserves to go to sleep not knowing if they're going to be safe. All right, but whoever there is a child that they want to be saved, you know, so maybe they're getting abused, beaten, there are signs. Kids let you know, okay? Kids let you know, all right? Because my baby, he's shy as shit. Like, he's just shy, but he's very extra. He knows you. He's gonna play with you. He's gonna talk to you. He's gonna love you. You know, but just be careful with what it is that's going on, because there's somebody's kid that is like, they're hoping to be saved. And there's nothing worse than being hopeless and being a kid and just crying and hoping for something to change. And you know damn well you ain't got the power to change it. So that's why it's important sometimes that we have our angels from outside, the strangers that come in and do the nice things and save us. Okay, because I don't want to get too much into my personal life, but when I was a kid, my mother was an alcoholic, you know, and we had terrible days sometimes. And there were days where I would hope and wish and pray somebody would come and just make it go away, because it was fucking terrible. Nobody did. Nobody did. But it's that feeling of wanting somebody to do something. And no matter how many people knew what was going on, nobody saved us. Nobody stopped it. Okay? So understand that the kids' parents, they train them to not speak. They train them to not say the things that are going to get them in trouble. They teach their kids how to manipulate people and say, oh no, I'm okay. No, mommy doesn't do this. No, daddy doesn't do that. Oh no, everything's okay. Don't think that kids don't lie for their parents, because they do. They lie because they're more afraid of what's going to come outside of what they already know. So don't think that a child's not gonna lie. I've seen too many fucking instances with CPS, fucking cops, with all types of shit, where I personally will know exactly what's going on, but the kid won't say shit. The kid will be like, no, that didn't happen. No, everything's okay. So trust what you feel. Trust your intuition, and if you can intervene, intervene. Fucking intervene, because people are terrible. People are fucking terrible. Okay, and it seems like maybe this person just, you know, they miss having somebody to just care for them and spend time with them and just genuinely be there. You know, kids we bring the children into the world. They don't ask to be here. We bring them in, and it's our job to make sure that they're safe and taken care of. Okay, it's not for us to just throw them to the fucking wolves and say, okay, well, have at it, you know, even if they're not yours. Make sure the kid's okay. The fuck is wrong with people? Oh, Jesus. All right. So maybe somebody was always grounded, you know, and I know this happens a lot when you have multiple kids. Like, hey, you're in trouble. Everybody's in fucking trouble. Yeah, all grounded. It happened to me a lot in my life, you know, but you have to understand, you know, it's like, okay, perfect example, as an adult. If it's like you go in fucking jail for a murder and you know damn well you didn't commit the murder, but it's like, well, he did it, so y'all all in trouble for doing it. Look at it like that. It doesn't have to be that drastic, but, you know, y'all get the point. just, you have to look at these things as how you're punishing, how you're treating, how you're handling the children, because if you went through this as a child, you know it's a shitty feeling. You know you don't like it. So why would you do this to your child? Why make a child suffer for something they didn't do? Because you're teaching them that there's always going to be injustice. You're teaching them that life is not ever going to be fair, and even if you don't do something, you're still going to be responsible for it. And then it's like, well, fuck it. If I'm going to be in trouble anyways, why not go do it? At least that was my mindset when I was younger. Not the best, but it's how I thought. You know, but really, like, see what you're doing, because, you know, we put too much pressure on kids. Okay, we just put too much pressure on them because we expect them to have the mentality of an adult. We expect them to act like an adult or think like an adult. And in reality, no, they're kids. Like, I look at my kids and I'm just like, okay, you've been alive for 4 years now. So the level of understanding, the level of fuckery, the level of curiosity, you know, I take all of that into account. And that's why I laugh a lot. I laugh because I just feel like, okay, like, what are you doing right now? Like, cut it out. You know, but sometimes people take it and you yell at your kid and you're like, what the fuck? Why did you do this? Da 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 da. And most, they don't know. They don't know why they did it. They did it because they're curious. They wanted to see what was going to happen. Maybe it was going to blow up. Maybe it was going to make a fucking mess. Who knows? They're curious. They're like little scientists. Like, look at your kid like it's a little scientist, and they're just trying to figure out the world, you know? So, you know, and if you're a person that experienced this, you know how terrible it is. You know that this is a bad feeling and you don't like it. And these are things that you have to come to peace with. You have to come to terms with these things. And, you know, understand, like, okay, well, my parent maybe wasn't the best parent. Maybe they experienced the same things, and that's why they were the way they were. But you have the choice to be better. You have the choice to be a different type of parent. Make that choice. Do that for your kid. Because whatever it is, you know, some of you may have even been afraid of fucking everything under the sun. Okay, and you had, like, a place that you would go to that would make you feel safe. You know, wherever that was for you, but there was somewhere that you would be able to go where you would be safe and you would feel secure, because this is where some of you developed your anxiety and your fear, is probably because you was always in trouble, or you were always getting yelled at, and maybe even some of you were getting hit. But whatever this was, it's like you just grew up with this fear and anxiety of thinking something's always going to get fucked up or everything's going to be bad. Okay, and again, like, if this is not something that you've experienced before, then this is something that you're showing your child, or this is something that your child is experiencing, or a child around you is experiencing. And you don't want that. Like, you want children to be children. You want them to be curious. You want them to explore. That is what a healthy child does. They're curious. That's what they're meant to do, to go out and learn the world. Don't take that from them, okay? Don't punish the... Having children takes patience. Okay, a lot of patience. And I can tell you, from the time when I was 20 to who I am now, I'm a very different person. I'm a very different parent. Okay, I didn't have patience when I was younger. Now I have probably too much patience. My kids be like, Mom, I'm like, it's okay, we'll be alright. I'm like, y'all not running around with knives, we're okay, just don't hurt nobody. You know, that's how I am. But it's like, it takes time to develop that, and this is why I always try to talk to people, and I just be like, you know, kids are kids, they're just curious. I'm like, they haven't been alive that long, you know, look at you. How is your mentality? You know, compare it to them. You know, how were you when you were that age? I just, like, try to offer perspectives to people. If you know that they have kids or they're dealing with things like this, just offer something different to them. Because, like I said, I didn't know. I took parenting classes. I got into fucked up situations. Like, the level of things that I've been through in my life, you'd be like, holy shit. You know, I was in a lot of fucked up situations, and some of them I put myself there. I'm not going to say I put my own self there, you know, but it helped me to learn as a parent. It helped me to grow and understand that some things are okay, some things are not okay. You know, I never abused my kids. But whatever this is, you know, just try to, you know, just that little bit, so much, like, you don't understand the kindness of one person, the difference it makes. Just a little tiny intervention, a little, hey, why don't we try this? Or, hey, you know, why are you so hard? Because sometimes people don't realize what's wrong with them, and they just need somebody to spark that or bring that up in conversation to bring awareness so that they can acknowledge it and then change the behavior. Okay, this is gonna be the last one I pull. Shit, well, the last three. So this is the last one. Now again, So we're back here with the abandonment issues, you know, because there's a person here that maybe they give a lot of excuses, or maybe you give a lot of excuses. You know, maybe you're never on time, or maybe there's a reason you couldn't do this, or a reason you couldn't do that, or whatever it was. But there's something here, you know, if you're a person that, you know, you teach your kids, or you're always giving excuses, or you're making excuses for your actions instead of taking accountability and saying, you know what, I had poor planning, I woke up late, I did this, and this is why we're late. You know, take accountability for your actions. But there's somebody here that either you don't take accountability, or you're just, there's excuses. There's always excuses that are being given, you know. And what is the word I'm looking for? It was like, I can't remember. It was something I read, but it was like basically just shifting the perspective. Instead of apologizing, you know, thank you for waiting for me, you know, thank you for having the patience, you know, just saying thank you instead of saying I'm sorry. You know, because life is life. We're not always going to be on time. Everything isn't always going to work out to the way we want it to work out to, you know. And people, I don't want to hear excuses. It's just be honest with me. You know, if you're late, then okay, well, I'm late. You know, I had other shit to do, where I got this going on. I'm not going to be there. I can't make it. Be honest. You know, that's the only way I could tell you is to get over this. But there's somebody here that was picked on a lot as a kid, or made fun of. You know, and this is probably my worst. I hate this more than anything because my father was that asshole. My father was the asshole that would pick on every insecurity that you fucking had as a child, and just, it was terrible. It was terrible because I had a lot of insecurities as a kid, and he would just pick on you and pick on you and pick on you. You know, you don't realize how much that damages your child's ego, their self-confidence, their self-worth, their self-love. That shit has such long-lasting effects. Do not do that. Not to your kid, not to fucking anybody, to anybody. Because we all know what our flaws are, or what we feel our flaws are. So you don't want somebody to sit there and point it out and make fun of it and amplify it a million more times, because that's what puts people into depression. That's what makes people sad and suicidal. You know, be considerate of other people. If you don't want it done to you, 9 out of 10 times, they don't want it done to them. Okay, so whatever it was, you know, if you're that person that thinks it's fun to joke and clown on your little kid, or please reconsider, like really sit with yourself and think about the damage you're doing to this little person. Okay, because you're going to make them have so many insecurities that they're not going to be comfortable within themselves. And this is why our kids are lost and they don't understand who they are, and they're mean and they're cold, because you're not showing them love and compassion and care. You're not building their confidence. You're tearing them down from an early age, and you are the one that's supposed to build them up. You're supposed to give them that love. You're supposed to show them, fuck what the world thinks of you. You love you. Okay, so whatever this is, just please, you know, and if you see people doing, say something. Don't let people do this shit. This is not okay. I don't like it. I don't surround myself with people that do this, because it's not okay. I don't fucking like it. And you can ask any of my children. Never once do you hear me pick on them, make fun of them, anything. I don't do that. I don't do that. Okay, they're very fragile egos. Like, our egos are, we could say they're fragile. So take a kid. It's a lot fucking worse. Don't do that. And again, we have a child here that either you feel abandonment from a parent, or maybe they feel abandonment currently from a parent, you know. And this is a hard one, because sometimes parents leave, and more so it's the dads usually just leave because, you know, they're sick of the mom shit or whatever happened between them. But there's times where moms have to leave, and it's because they're in an abusive situation. It's because if I don't leave, I'm going to end up dead. And a child is not going to understand that. A child's just going to be like, well, why did you leave me here with them? You know, why did you leave me to suffer? And sometimes it's hard. It's hard to get away. It's hard to escape a situation with your children. You know, so you have to save yourself and then save the kid. But whatever this is here, you know, you have to reassure your child, even if you're not physically present there with them. You have to let them know, I'm still here. I still love you. Nothing's changed. I'll see you whenever I can. I'll pick you up. Whatever it is, reassure your children. Let them know that they're not abandoned. Okay? And like I said, this is very personal for me, because my kids experienced this on my part. You know, and it was it was more of the father trying to erase me, like I never existed, you know. And I was young, so I was stupid. I was dumb. I did a lot of stupid shit, and I trusted a lot. But the effects that it has on my children, because I'm very open with my kids. I have a lot of conversations about how they feel, you know, and I apologize for my mistakes. I apologize for me not being there, even if they're not aware that it's impacted them. I still apologize. I take accountability for that, because that's something I did that impacted them. So, you know, be accountable. Be the person you wanted as a child. Be that person. Be that person for yourself. Love yourself. Give that to yourself. Give that to your inner child. But also, if you have kids, especially, give it to your children. Be that person that listens. Be the person that understands. Don't be the person that, what the fuck are you doing? Why the fuck did you do that? Are you fucking stupid? Don't be that person. Our kids don't need that. Our kids need the love and the understanding, because they're ours in the sense that we birthed them, but they're a gift. You know, we're here to help them through life. We're here to guide them. We're here to show them. We're here to teach them. That is what our job is for our children. Nothing else. Okay? They don't belong to us. They're not our property. We can't stop them from making their life choices, just like they can't stop us from making our life choices. I tell my children, there are consequences to all of your actions. As long as you can live with the consequences of your actions, go ahead and rock out. But if you cannot live with the consequences of your actions, then you really need to sit and think about it before you do that. Okay? Like, we need to really change the way we're parenting our kids. Okay? And like I said, and if this is something that's a deep wound from before, you have to reparent yourself and love yourself and have these conversations with yourself and understand that you're safe now. And as long as you have you, you're never going to be alone. You're never going to be abandoned. Okay? You're always going to be safe because you have you. You don't need anybody else to have you. We came here alone, and we're going to leave alone. So as long as you got you, that's all you need. But please, you know, especially when it comes to the little ones, just be better. That's all I can say, is really be better. Do what you wanted for you, and teach your kids to be accountable, okay? Teach them to be responsible and take accountability for their wrongdoings, you know, and they become afraid. They don't tell the truth because they're afraid of the consequences. So if you're a person that screams and punishes and beats your kid because they did something wrong, instead of sitting down and talking to them and saying, okay, you know what happened, and let them explain what happened, and then explain that, well, because of these actions, you know, there is going to be a punishment. It's very different. It's very different. That's why I say I'm open with my kids. My kids, God help me. If y'all heard some of the shit my daughter tells me, you'd be like, what the fuck? I'm very open. Like, we just have conversations, and she feels safe. She feels comfortable enough to share this stuff with me. That's the type of relationship you want with your children, because at the end of the day, they're going to do what they're going to do. Either you're going to know about it or you're not going to know about it. I would rather know about it, so then I can advise accordingly. Because if she's doing it behind my back, I'm not going to know, and I can't give her advice. So for whoever this is, whatever you guys have going on, I'm not perfect in any shape, way, or form. And I told you, like, I've had my share of shit. I've done a lot of fucked up shit in my life, but I've grown. And because of my growth and my understanding, I sit here and I talk to you guys about these things because I want everyone to be better. I want our kids to have better lives. So that's what these messages were for today. I didn't expect to be as emotional as I am, because now I just want to go cry in a corner. But, you know, I hope that this resonated with you guys, and I hope it gave you some clarity, and at the very least a different perspective or a different understanding as to how you're approaching things, especially with yourself and your children. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully tomorrow I'll be on here with my regular messages and I won't be sad. So have a good day.